I promise you. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Never say die, Broncos. That's why we fight. My high magic is real. Let's get it. Wow. What a win, baby.
Keep it pushing. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't clean, but we got the job done. That's all that matters.
Big dog, baby. Undeniable. Undeniable. Let's go.
Fantasy Football Happy Hour with Matthew Berry.
Happy Monday. Welcome to the Fantasy Football Happy Hour. Connor Rogers, Matthew Berry, Jay Croucher, and a very fired up Denver Broncos at the start, guys.
You know what?
Why wouldn't they be?
I go the other way. I don't think you should be fired up.
No?
You won by 1 point. You're a 7-point favorite.
Right.
If you don't cover, you don't celebrate.
You know
That's my
NFL
rule.
teams really love the spreads. Yep.
That's what
Beat the Giants by 1.
They talk about that in the locker room, right? Cover on 3.
Yes,
1, 2,
right.
Well, I will say this. Sean Payton shares your feelings. Not necessarily about the spread, but I watched the post-game press conference, and Sean Payton was just like, listen, I'm glad we won. And I'm paraphrasing here, but he was basically like, look, I'm glad we won, but
State of the team.
We got a lot of, he said something like, I told the team, hey, enjoy this moment, but we got work to do, which is rightfully so.
They weren't good.
They were not good. I mean, a week after, barely beating your Jets.
Well, the offense didn't do anything.
The offense didn't do anything. They're lucky that they didn't go to Tyrod Taylor. The Jets didn't go to Tyrod Taylor to get another 25 yards.
Yep.
Then they come in and they get their ass kicked by the Giants for 3.5 quarters. Right? I mean, basically, and they got lucky that they did make the nice interception, but they had a touchdown go off of Cortland Sutton's hand that Troy Franklin winds up with as well, and then the Giants missed an extra point at the end after an unbelievable drive by Dart. The Broncos, I don't want to say they got away with one because
they got away with one.
Yeah, a little bit.
Definitely got away with one.
But listen, they were great too, and listen, Giants had one of their own where Theo Johnson manages to.
Oh, there were some plays in this game that was just like you thought somebody was behind the scenes pressing buttons.
It was just bonkers, but and it's weird because Nix and Dart both have great fantasy days. Scatterboo gets into the end zone again. Sutton does his normal Cortland Sutton type thing. The Theo Johnson play was sort of crazy. Wan'Dale Robinson continued to be the number one for the Giants here. Tough game for J.K. Dobbins in a game in which the Broncos put up so many points. J.K. Dobbins, and they were close a lot. And Dobbins ran well. They just couldn't get him the ball in close. Nice to see Evan Ingram show up in the box score for once.
In a game where Bo Nix really did nothing for you in fantasy for the first 3 quarters, he explodes in the fourth, ends up as QB1 going into the Monday Night Football doubleheader. We got to hear from Bo Nix on the Broncos offense coming alive at the end of the game.
We just saved all our good ones for the fourth quarter, and they worked. We just kept running them, and we found some momentum, and our defense found some stops. We got a huge turnover, and all of a sudden we just got some life back. There's a time of the game, where me and the boys are over there, and I see one of them kind of counting. And I'm like, you know what? It's probably best we don't do that because a lot of numbers you're going to have to count to. Let's just play one play at a time. And sure enough, we all smiled and nodded and just went on to the next play and went on to the next drive. And we went down and scored, and it just was – you just kept making plays and kept making plays and kept making plays.
Yeah, those numbers are pesky. Who wants to count those numbers?
Right. Just go play the plays and see what happens.
And play. Well, play he did. 174 yards and 2 passing touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Also runs for 2. Unbelievable. 35.6 fantasy points in just the fourth quarter. Bo Nix finally used, we saw him use his legs a lot last year. Feels like it hasn't been nearly as much this year, but obviously this year he did. And Bo Nix putting up a 40-burger. Bo Nix drinks for free at the happy hour today.
Full Undertaker meme. You were probably watching your team be like, I can't believe I started Bo Nix this week.
Oh, And he hasn't been great. He hasn't delivered what you drafted him to be. He was drafted as a top 10
this
I'm
week.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, a reckoning is coming, though, for the Broncos. They're like the rich man's Panthers. They're a lot better than the Panthers.
My God.
Well, the Panthers are 4-3.
Yeah.
The Broncos are 5-2. The Broncos shouldn't be 5-2. The defense. Look, here's the thing. Coming back from Europe, just kind of weird stuff happens. Like the Browns, when they came back from Europe, they just did nothing against the Steelers at all. So you give them a little bit of a pass for that. But this offense hasn't been that good all year. It's great to come back and get the win, to chalk up the W. But beyond that, I wouldn't take too many learnings out of this.
The defense doesn't seem as strong as we thought it was.
A lot of broken plays yesterday.
People are able to, teams are able to move the ball against the Broncos somewhat. And then you combine that with the fact that the Chiefs look otherworldly, and you're sort of like the Broncos once again looks like you're playing for a wild card.
I just, like, week 17, Chiefs host Denver. It's like a Thursday night or something. It's like, that's going to be for the division. Chiefs going to be 7-point favorites.
Maybe. I don't know if it comes down to that.
Well, they're a game clear right now, and they're a solid team, the Broncos. So, but it just feels like it's going to be builders for the division, and then the Chiefs will win by 14 and win the AFC West like they always do.
This game totally changed though when Paulson Adebo came out and Tay Banks came in for the Giants, and Bo Nix was like, okay, I'm going to attack the backup corner, who's a former first rounder, but he doesn't play up to that standard, and that's not sustainable every week. But credit to Bo Nix and the offense for recognizing that and fully capitalizing.
Yeah, and by the way, if there's a positive here, so they played Dallas next week. They're at home. So you feel like Bo Nix sort of, again, it was crazy that it all came in this fourth quarter. This is such a weird game to take anything away from it. But I do feel like, as we'll get talking about this as the week goes on, but like you feel better about this Broncos offense coming off of that fourth quarter, now hosting Dallas at home. I know Dallas played well. We'll get into that game. But ultimately, I do think, two of the next three are pretty nice, right? They're home to the Cowboys. They're at the Texans. That'll be a tough one. Then home to the Raiders in Week 10. Then home to the Chiefs in Week 11 before a bye. Yeah, they get 2 weeks to prepare for my Commanders. Thanks, NFL schedulers.
Yeah, I think from a fantasy perspective, the elusive schedulers. I think from a fantasy perspective, like you're starting Cortland Sutton, you're starting Bo Nix as like a fringy QB1 because of the rushing, and then you're starting J.K. Dobbins as a RB2 type. There's nothing super inspiring, but these guys have, for the most part, fairly high floors fantasy-wise.
Yeah, look, I think the bigger takeaway is on the other side of the ball with the Giants. Again, people probably benched Jaxson Dart. We talked a lot about, I was clear. I had him low in my ranks. Denver so good against rushing quarterbacks, so we didn't expect a lot from Dart. And look, the Daniel Bellinger, there was like broken coverage there in the Daniel Bellinger play, and then of course the Theo Johnson play was just sort of fluky. The Cam Scatterbo touchdown, like he threw it 2 yards and Scatterbo did the rest. So there's definitely some luck is probably too strong a word, but there's definitely some good fortune in terms of his fantasy points. But I think what's exciting about Dart is that 75% of his points in Week 7 did come as a passer, right? And so, there was the question was, like, if he's not running, can he produce fantasy points? And between Scatterbo, who has now had at least 90 yards from scrimmage in all 4 of Dart's starts, and Wan'Dale Robinson, 6 for 80 now in back-to-back games. Like, they're starting to find some pieces. And, yes, it was a fluky play, but still, Theo Johnson still did make the catch and still did run to the house after it bounced up in the air. So, I don't know. I think, I said it when he was drafted, that Jaxson Dart was going to be and during the preseason, certainly. Like, whenever he becomes a starter, this guy's a top 12 guy the rest of the way.
So it's very impressive he was able to put up these numbers against the Broncos defense that did come in to this game as one of the top 2-3 defenses in the league. Also, I think that a lot of this was extremely fluky. The fact that his 3 touchdowns, one comes on a comically blown coverage where just the guy's Bellinger's wide open 20 yards in front of everyone else. Another one, the tip pass, and then another screen pass. It wasn't anything super sustainable. He was very inaccurate overall. I think Dart, again, what's the takeaway? You're still going to be pretty comfortable starting him because of the rushing value. It's just I'm still wary of him putting up passing numbers all season without Malik Neighbors.
Yeah. Maybe they make a move for a wide receiver at the deadline that makes you feel a little better about it, but we still have a couple weeks for that to actually take place.
I would have said yes, definitely, if they win this game, right?
Yeah,
They're 2-5 versus 3-4 is really different.
You almost have to if you win this game, because it goes to show you after beating them and the Chargers, I feel like you could play with anybody.
For sure.
But,
and the Eagles.
And of course, the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, they would have won. If you're the Giants, if you win this game, you're like, hey, we're 3-4. Commanders look awful. No one's scared of the Cowboys, and we've already beaten the Eagles head-to-head. We've got a shot here. You know, and so
they play the Eagles this week coming up, and they can clinch the tie-break. But now 2-5, a little far back.
Yeah.
And Shane Bowen's defense could fall apart at any moment. That keeps Dart trying to score points. They don't really kind of, even the interception, I know a lot of people have hindsight on that, but they keep just keep going for it.
Hard to sweep a series, and they're at Philadelphia, and we'll get to the Eagles, but they looked a lot better. But then home to San Francisco, at Chicago. You know, so
I will say one thing about Dart, and that goes against the point of Neighbors just crippling his value in the passing game, is that you are more immune to a lack of talent in your receiving corps if you can create outside of structure.
Yes.
Right? If you can extend plays consistently, because then it just gives guys more chance to get open. They don't have to beat coverage in 2 seconds or whatever. So Dart will have that. He's always going to be able to move around and create out of structure.
And Scattaboo now is like bordering. I mean, like we had into Monday Night Football. He's the 9th best running back in fantasy on this one. Again, another 90 yards from scrimmage game. He catches the touchdown. You know, Scattaboo is borderline RB1 material at this point. Like Tyrone Tracy is literally just an insurance back.
He did have the free touchdown, though.
Yeah.
You would have loved if Scattaboo got that one.
I know.
How many people on the street could have scored that touchdown? It was wide open.
Me and you, probably not Jay.
Stuntman Chuck, 85, actually has a thought here about Jay. He says Jay never should have abandoned his Giants.
Yeah.
Although, it actually looks right now.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good call, Stuntman Chuck. Yeah, exactly.
Well, do you know how I abandoned them before, though?
The Saints.
No.
It's the team we have to talk about now.
The Indianapolis
powerhouse Indianapolis Colts.
Stop it. Absolutely not. Don't let him rewrite history. He abandoned the Giants for the Saints, and then he abandoned the Saints for the Colts.
Yeah, the Saints were just a little fling, though, on the side. There was nothing ever material.
It's like a 3-day
thing. There was no third
Didn't
day
mean
on the
anything.
Saints.
Yeah,
No,
it was just,
they would go to a second
you're
date.
Just killing time in Vegas.
The Saints were just there.
Yeah,
the Colts are the true love of my life.
Here comes Scattaboo. I would love to watch Jay coach a kid's soccer game. Bobby, that goal shouldn't count for us. You only scored because your defender fell down.
Oh,
right.
Oh, my goodness.
The chat does think you are quite the pessimist, Jay.
Yeah.
I have to say.
The chat is correct, by the way.
Somebody, I can't find it now, but somebody said that you're the type of person that thinks everything in life is a scam.
Well, hold on. Let's talk about the Indianapolis Colts. Then I can speak some optimism into the world.
They're not a scam. The Colts are not a scam.
The Colts are not a scam.
No, this was a fantasy bonanza.
It's a fantasy bonanza, and I just think it's real and sustainable. I think it's real and spectacular. This Indianapolis offense, I don't know why this won't just sustain. They have an awesome play caller in Shane Steichen, who is just cooking like he has a 5-star Michelin star restaurant at the moment, where he has an awesome offensive line. The interior of the offensive line has been so much better than expected with Bortolini and Gonsalves, who are doing amazing work run blocking. He's got, I think, the best running back in football. And Daniel Jones, a lot of people have compared, to me at least, Daniel Jones to Sam Darnold last year, and they're like, oh, this could fall apart at any time. I don't think so, because Sam Darnold did not have this offensive line. He did not have this run game to lean on. And so the Colts, the thing is that they're not just winning these games, they're killing everyone. They just destroy everyone, and this is one of the most efficient offenses in NFL history. They've punted like 11 times. In 7. It's completely insane. Like, I just think that fantasy-wise, Jonathan Taylor, I think he's the number one guy the rest of the way because of this insane touchdown production. They just run it every time they get into the red zone.
He's already had 3 games this season with 3 touchdowns and 30 or more fantasy points. Of course, it happened to me this week because Lawrence is playing me in the League of Assholes, and of course he has Jonathan Taylor. No surprise. Of course, I could have told you Jonathan Taylor.
Stunning performance from Jonathan Taylor.
But couldn't he have done 2 touchdowns? Did it have to be 3? Couldn't the Chargers have shown some sort of fight? Come on, Jim
Look at that beautiful man.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
there you
sad that our hands aren't holding together.
You guys have the same color on, too.
You and Jonathan Taylor.
Me and JT like to dress the same.
Now, I'm surprised you didn't, because usually about half my face is in this. I know I'm somewhere in this photo.
Yeah, you're in the radius, that's for sure.
So I'm
next to you.
I'm going to tweet that photo after every Colts win. The previous version had half of your face in, and then yesterday I was like, no what? No, I just want me and John. Me and John today. And like this is the healthiest that he's looked in a while.
Right. That's great.
Like he's just housing these runs as well. He just gets downhill and it's all over.
Daniel Jones, I thought it was really impressive. And again, the Chargers defense hasn't been all that, but like Daniel Jones has basically been really good at home this year and not great on the road. From a fantasy perspective, he actually had a nice fantasy performance here as well. Tyler Warren continues to make his case for Offensive Rookie of the Year. He's my vote, especially with Emeka Egbuka. We'll see if he ends up playing tonight, but with Egbuka a little bit banged up, Tyler Warren's been nothing short of spectacular. And Michael Pittman even gets in the end zone in this one.
So the Colts play the Titans next week with Jeffrey Simmons and L'Jarius Sneed. I don't think they're going to play. Colts are 14.5-point favorites. You might have another 3-touchdown Jonathan Taylor game coming up.
What scares you, though, you might not have to give him carries in the second half.
That's the thing. Is
that's how bad things look for the Titans right now.
JT's value so far is getting suppressed because he's not playing these fourth quarters because they're beating everyone by 30.
Fresh. Yeah. They got bigger games ahead.
It's crazy part is that they're 6-1 and they should be 7-0.
Yes.
If AD Mitchell doesn't make the boneheaded play of the year.
Yeah.
They're undefeated.
A lot of people, as now I'm an avatar for Colts fandom, people are saying, the Colts haven't beaten anyone, they haven't beaten any defense. They've lit up the Broncos. They lit up the Rams. It's just that AD Mitchell cost them 2 different touchdowns.
Right.
So this team is just a force at the moment. It's Titans, Steelers, Falcons coming up. Like, they're going to run the ball down those teams' throats. The real test will come after the bye, where it's at Chiefs, home Texans, at Jags, at Seahawks, Niners on Monday Night Football, which could be the Coach of the Year Bowl, Steichen v. Shanahan. But I think this team right now, I think they're minus 230 to win the division. They're the most heavily favored team in the NFL to make the playoffs. So the Colts, I think they're very...
Week 12 at the Chiefs.
AFC title game preview?
Very possibly. Then they'll be coming off their bye. They'll have 2 weeks to prepare for Mahomes and company.
I think right now, the only team that I know for sure is better than the Colts is Kansas City.
Yeah.
And I think Detroit when they're healthy. I think those two. But the Colts, I think, have the Packers that much better than the Colts?
Yeah. The other team when healthy, and they're far from healthy, is the Bucs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we'll see with the Bucs.
Yeah.
Bucs are 6.5-point dogs tonight.
Well, they're running out of people.
Yeah. So that's the problem. You need people.
Yeah, you do in fact need people. Who says you're not a good fit football analyst?
I know.
Absolutely.
Those people
fired up about the Colts.
Yeah,
it's such a joy to watch this team. I just love watching Steichen's offense.
Yeah.
It's great.
Even in a loss.
Very happy.
Yes.
A lot to dissect with the Chargers.
He's just excited because finally he's got a bunch of money on a team that actually might cash for him.
It's so good. I love it. It's just I just settle down, watch the Colts, tell the kids to clear out. I just want to be alone with Shane and John for a few hours. Just watch magic happen. It's great.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm rooting for you. You need one.
I love that that's your excuse to get the kids out of the room as opposed to just anything.
The Colts are on.
I need to be alone
with Shane and John.
Yeah.
On the other side of this game.
But you just say to the kid, when you say it, you just say, hey, kids. You don't like individually name by name because then you'd have to remember each one of their names.
No, just the collective,
kids.
the vague collective.
I like that my rundown says Vidal turns into a pumpkin. Not a great week if you spent a lot of fab on Kamani Vidal, but if you somehow are rostering Oronde Gadsden, you hit a bonanza.
Well, we've talked about Oronde Gadsden for a number of times in terms of the waiver show, like Deeper League ads. We've talked about him, that we like him. I'm a Syracuse guy. I loved him at Syracuse last year. I know you talked him up. You liked him as a prospect. I remember saying this on this show last week. I'm like, even though Will Dissly was out there, they still use Gadsden quite a bit. And so I don't think any of that is a surprise. We'll get more into Gadsden tomorrow on the Waiver Wire show, but back-to-back games now with at least a 75% route participation for Oronde Gadsden the second. It was nice to see Keenan Allen, even with Quentin Johnston back, and Keenan Allen, who'd sort of been trending down a little bit, he had a big game here. The issue was here, guys, they got down so big. They're already a pass rate over expectation massive team, right? They lead the NFL in pass rate over expectation. And so when they got down big, continued to go, but fine with us. It's a bunch of fantasy points.
It is. And I think it's going to start, Justin Herbert's just under siege every play. He has now, Joe Alt will come back, if not Thursday, then the following week. But I think, right now, they've got 5 below average offensive linemen, the way they're playing.
Even some of their backups are getting banged up.
Yeah, they're down to 6th and 7th string tackles.
Right.
It's completely insane what's going on there. Herbert is still able to compile yards because he's just that good. But, the run game, I just think, is not going to be there until Alt comes back and they get a semblance of health.
You're going to think I'm crazy here, but I actually think I was encouraged by Kamani Vidal's performance. And you're like, what are you talking about, Barry? He just didn't do anything. Okay, fine. 7.5 fantasy points, not great. But by the way, running back 23 as we head into Monday Night Football. Okay, so he was a flex this week. Again, not great, but the Chargers had 16 running back carries in this game. Kamani Vidal got 13 of them, right? He played 65% of the snaps. He got 100% of the Chargers running back red zone touches. So, again, while the production wasn't there, the usage was. We like this offense. They're going to be in scoring position more often than not. He's not somebody that needs to come off the field when they get to third down, when they're pass heavy, because he is their passing down back as well. I actually am encouraged by Vidal's performance after last week. I know the numbers aren't there, but the usage was. And if somebody in your league is panicking or whatever, make a low ball offer.
Right.
because he's going to be their guy, and it looks like, unfortunately, that Hampton's going to miss more than just the 4-week minimum. That's the current reporting, it seems like.
Our next game, guys, Dallas. Sorry, Matthew, they handle your Commanders. This offense is insanely explosive. It was kind of a match made in hell for the Commanders secondary. Dak continues to be great. CeeDee Lamb makes a very loud return. And Jake Ferguson and Javonte Williams kind of do what they've done all season.
He was Fergalicious, the Fergler.
Yeah,
Javonte Williams had a great look. They were all awesome. Even Pickens. I mean, below average game for George Pickens, but still double-digit fantasy points.
Still playable.
Yeah, I mean, can I do a quick impression? Can I just do a quick impression? You know me. I love my impressions.
This is your Emmanuel Forbes?
No. This is
the sequel?
This is Marshawn Lattimore. This is Marshawn Lattimore. Just my impression of Marshawn Lattimore.
Wow. Great. Unbelievable. Great sequel. Cornerback 2, Judgment Day.
Yes.
Very good.
That was on me. That was my bad. That was my bad. Okay.
At least he was good in the playoffs, though, last year. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Like, what happened to Marshawn Lattimore?
He lost his legs.
He's old.
He can't run anymore.
He's like me out there.
You know how the aging process works.
Yes. I'm familiar.
You were out on the field at AT&T.
Yeah.
You weren't fast either. He's old too.
I looked like Marshawn Lattimore out there. On the Football Night in America pod, we had to do a speed round. And one of the speed round questions was, bad game or bad sign, right? So just, is this a blip? Is it just, was this just one bad game, or is it a bad sign? And we came to the Commanders, and every single person, Coach Jason Garrett, Deb McCourty, Mike Florio, Maria Taylor, all said, bad game. I said,
so.
Bad sign. Bad sign. We have no secondary. We have no defense. Jayden Daniels hurt. Daniels hurt again. Yes, I know. We didn't have Terry McLaurin. We didn't have Deebo Samuel. But we also didn't put up a fight against one of the worst defenses in the NFL.
The game was over quickly.
Yes. Yeah. Bad game. Stop it. We're gonna get. Do you know who we play next week?
Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, we're gonna get boat raced.
Yeah. To be fair,
what's the line? What's the opening line?
It's like 9.5.
Give me the over.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Give me the over.
It's actually. I think it's gonna like Jayden's probably gonna miss, and it's gonna end up like 13 or something.
Yes, it's terrible.
Yeah. To be fair, if he was gonna miss a game, may as well be Chiefs on the road.
Right,
you're probably going to lose anyway.
Why does it matter? Right.
Yeah. That's all right.
But then you're 3-5 at that point. You know what I mean? Like again, this is why that's why that Bears loss was so absolutely brutal.
Seahawks and Lions the next two after that. All right, your team's done. It's over.
Yes, of course.
It's over. They are plus 350 to make the playoffs.
Then you get the free bingo space against the Dolphins before the bye. But then you have Broncos, Vikings, and the Giants, who are going to be much better this time around.
You haven't played the Eagles yet?
We haven't played. We got 2 against the Eagles because we had to. Of course.
Yeah,
what season's done?
Well, at least you get the Cowboys in between both Eagles games.
Yeah,
my God.
At least we're back to back in week 16, 17. But man, it's done. We're done.
Yeah. Just get Jones through the year healthy, reload for next year.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. I mean, it's just upsetting. The one takeaway, other than the fact that my Commander's just like, awful. At least my fantasy team's going well. Look, what I'll say here is that Jacory Croskey-Merritt has now had under 11 fantasy points in 5 of the last 6 games. He's averaging just 3 yards per carry over the last 2. And so what's concerning here is that, he's not involved in the passing game. So you're really counting on the volume here. Now, coming into this game, the Commanders were one of the best teams in the NFL in terms of running the ball. Their yards per carry average were way up there. And we thought that Bill Croskey-Merritt had real burst. And it just, I don't know if it's because the offensive line. They also got down big in this game, but it just, Chris Rodriguez and Jeremy McNichols are being used enough to sap the value from JCM. He was somebody that was on the love list that you and I talked about on pregame that we liked quite a bit. I bet him to hit the over on his rushing prop. I did a ladder bet that did not cash. Is there a player on the Commanders? Take Jayden Daniels out of it. Let's assume Jayden Daniels is not playing next week. Is there a player on the Commanders you feel comfortable starting next week?
Are we assuming that McLaurin and Deebo? It's not Deebo.
Assume everyone's healthy except for Jayden Daniels, and it's Marcus Mariota, who's been fine, by the way. I mean, again, he didn't look good there, but he probably didn't practice all week.
It's a good question.
He'll be fine.
I think McLaurin and Deebo are flex guys.
If they're back.
If they're back.
If they're back. Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. Probably right, but and
JCM is still probably a flex. I mean, it's a lower. The vision for JCM.
Ertz has been fine, actually. Ertz is a low-end
compared to how the tight end landscape is right now. You probably still play Ertz.
But it's for a team that we thought had so much fantasy goodness, I'm I'm despondent, Jay Croucher.
Well, you need Jayden Daniels back. If Jayden Daniels isn't going to play, then it's a complete... And also, like, JCM yesterday, yes, it was a great matchup against Dallas, but I think what we saw is that, like, if you have no receiving options at all, it's a lot easier to stop the run. And I thought that the Commanders might just overwhelm them anyway, but they didn't.
No.
And then game script just got out of hand.
Yeah, I mean, credit to the Cowboys played good defense. I mean, that was the first time the Cowboys have looked good on defense. Like, Cowboys just ass kicked us. We just got, like not even, it was like 44-22, I think, and it wasn't that close.
Yeah, and the Cowboys total in this game was 27.5. They blew through that quickly.
Through it.
All right, Eagles, Minnesota, in what was surprising.
I'm sad.
Sorry, man.
Sad, Matty.
Now we can talk about the Eagles winning.
There you go.
Yes, a great game for former ride or die Jalen Hurts, getting both receivers going here, Matthew. We've been waiting a long time for this. They combined for 304 yards in a game they had to throw.
Yeah, they made a clear effort to not only to throw, to change up their offense. But by the way, Jalen Hurts also took a lot of snaps from under center. He's normally entirely shotgun. But like it was clear that they were, we can't just keep doing the same old, same old. We've got to change some things up. And they did. He looked good, by the way. 12.3 average depth of target. That was a season high. A couple of some of them were on I don't want to say broken plays, but where they brought pressure and he was able to be like, he was able to use his leg. He was able to use his legs to extend the play, be off schedule, and get the ball down the field. And they took some shots. And listen, A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith were able to get open.
Yep. That might be the best game I've seen from Hurts as a pure passer. Like, Jalen Hurts just had a perfect passer rating against one of the best pass defenses in the NFL.
Yeah, he didn't really miss.
He didn't miss. The deep ball was there, which had been lacking through the first 6 weeks. And I think the key thing is that DeVonta Smith and A.J. Brown, they look like the guys from last year. Like, they just seemed all the way back. They seemed revitalized. I thought, my best guess was going to be that they were going to come out of this mini bye and their identity was going to be leaning more into Saquon and the run, trying to get that going. Went the other way completely. They leaned into the pass. They were hyper efficient in the passing game, and that's bad news for Saquon Barkley, because again, Saquon he hasn't had any good games this year.
No, they bottled up. Now if they continue their passing ways, maybe that starts opening some stuff up for Saquon.
You hope so.
But 42 yards from scrimmage. He's been under 95 total yards in every game this season. He's basically been a touchdown-dependent RB2. It's one of the reasons why I was lower on him in my preseason ranks than consensus was, because I'm like, guys, like, he's not involved in the passing game. Teams, he basically, and he's somebody that gets vultured at the goal line a decent amount. He needs these long runs, which I think those are unsustainable, and so far they have been as well. He's unbelievable. He's an incredible talent, but as we head into Monday Night Football, he's running back 34 on the week. And it's not like he's been awesome all year.
No.
Relative to ADP, you likely spent a top 5 overall pick on Saquon. Not if you use my rankings, but regardless, I mean, there's no way, two ways around it. Fantasy-wise, he's been a disappointment this year, despite his greatness.
Johnny Dangerly asks, is Brown a sell-high candidate now or a hold?
I don't think you're going to get value.
I don't think so either.
I think you got to ride it out and just hope that this is real.
But I will say, if somebody does buy, if somebody is willing to give you top 12 fantasy wide receiver value for A.J. Brown, I would take that in a heartbeat. So I think he's a sell high in the sense that if you can sell him, I would do so.
Right.
But I just think, I'm with you, I think most people are like, let me see it again before I'm willing to buy in to the Eagles passing game. So yeah, but I thought this was a statement win for the Eagles. After the 2 losses, like, how are they going to come out there? All this chatter, blah, blah, and against a tough defense. They're on the road at Minnesota. Brian Flores always calls it a really good game. And, and by the way, they almost lost this. Like, honestly, Carson Wentz was not good, and their red zone efficiency was just awful. They got to the red zone 6 times. They got 5 field goals.
Yep.
I mean, so they were moving the ball very well. It's just
Eagles' defense is not nearly what it was last year.
But man, when Jalen Carter's back, it's at least competitive.
It's competitive. But the story was Hurts. Like, Hurts was just magnificent.
Sure. Clay Latham, is Saquon Barkley an RB1 still?
No.
Not right now. We haven't gotten a single week out of him.
He's an RB2.
Who would you rather, Saquon Barkley or Quinshon Judkins?
Judkins.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
Yeah. Saquon Barkley or Cam Scatterbo?
I would still believe in Saquon.
Saquon. Yeah, so that's probably the gap in there.
Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah, in between Judkins and Scatterbo.
Oh, boy.
Judkins is going outside the top 110 picks in preseason, as in Scatterbo similarly.
I begged everyone to take him.
Yeah. Well, yes, you did. But, I mean, Judkins, there was the legal issues also.
Right.
Yeah. were a part of why Judkins fell the way he did.
Indeed.
All right, our next game, guys, Saints-Bears. I think the Bears are the only I was reading the Bears are the only team this year to score 21-plus points in every game they played. Ben Johnson has totally revitalized this offense. And DeAndre Swift, who we say almost every week, Jay, is always left for dead, just continues to get the job done.
Yep, this is a team now defined by its running game. That's what they've really leaned into. A really disappointing game, fantasy-wise, from Caleb Williams, but DeAndre Swift, the capacity for both him and Monangai to perform this way in the same game, wouldn't have expected that. Now, they're not going up against much of my former flame in the New Orleans Saints. We'll also see a lot of this accumulation has been against very suspect defenses and suspect teams overall. And, you know, they play in the NFC North. They're going to play the Lions and the Packers a bit going forward. But overall, very positive for DeAndre Swift. And his schedule the rest of the way is still pretty favorable.
Yeah, I mean, Baltimore and Cincinnati are the next two, then the Giants at Minnesota. So it starts to get a little bit tougher. But the next two are brilliant. Now, listen, DeAndre Swift plays 52% of the snaps, and 2 of his 3 lowest snap share games have been each of the last 2 weeks. Now, he came into this game questionable. He had a groin injury. It was sort of a game-time decision. Obviously, he played well, but maybe that is one of the reasons why Monangai had a big game here. The most usage he's had all year, 17.4 fantasy points. And, Connor, could you see a scenario? We like Monangai. We've talked about him quite a bit on this show. Could you see a scenario where, again, you know, the Bears are sitting there, they're 4-2. They're starting to think about, like, hey, we might have a shot at this thing. Like, there's a very real scenario. They're 6-2, right? And, you know, they've got Baltimore and Cincinnati, or they split those, right? And they're 5-3. So thinking about that, do you think there's a scenario where one of the reasons why you like Monangai was like, look, this could easily be Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, you know, the Chicago version of those two guys. Not that Swift is Gibbs or even the Monangai could be Montgomery, but, you know, the dime store version of those two guys, right?
I think down the road it can be. The only thing I look at from this game is Monangai had 13 carries. 6 of them were in the fourth quarter when they were just trying to get the game over with because Swift came into the game banged up. He was banged up all week. He's been banged up this season. So this game specifically feels like one where don't react and say, oh, Monangai has standalone value. I have Swift on a lot of teams. I picked up Monangai over the last 2 weeks when Swift has been hurt as a premium handcuff. I don't think he has standalone value right now.
He doesn't have it right now, but he could. So that's what I'm asking. Is that
he's talented enough.
We'll talk about it more tomorrow on the waiver wire show. But I think he's an interesting grab and stash. Obviously, if you have Swift, but even if you don't, because you can see a scenario where he plays himself into a role. Again, you think about Ben Johnson's time in Detroit. He was able to effectively use 2 running backs, and where Swift is getting banged up because he's been used so much. So you could see a scenario where they say, like, you know what, let's try to get the kid Monangai into more of a rotation so that Swift isn't touching the ball 25 times a game.
It's good that they trust him. They clearly do. For a 7th-round pick, Monangai was getting key reps over summer, and now he's getting at least somewhat key reps in real NFL games.
He's clearly past Roshan Johnson on the depth chart.
By a mile, it feels like right now. On the other side of this game, really the only news around the Saints, you just have to ask yourself, Matthew, is it time to bench Alvin Kamara? I mean, he's RB31 going into Monday Night Football.
I mean, if there was a positive here, he did get 3 targets. But, he's been banged up. Now, he will be outside my top 20 next week against Tampa Bay. Unless... Now, we're going to talk about this when we get to the injuries, but Kendre Miller got banged up in this game. And so, there's a chance that Kamara just has to get massive workload next week because they don't have Kendre Miller against the Buccaneers. Since week 3, he's running back 34 on a points-per-game basis. He's been held under 13 fantasy points now in 5 straight games. He's had only 2 games this year with more than 75 yards from scrimmage. And just to the eye test, kind of looks done. He kind of looks, he's definitely not as explosive as Kendre Miller in this offense. And again, he might have been done last year. We just didn't notice or care because he was this PPR cheat code because Rashid Shaheed and Chris Olave were both out, and Taysom Hill, and literally he was all they had. Yep. But now those 2 guys are healthy. Kendre Miller is starting to pop, and it just, if the passing game usage isn't there, he's never been a big touchdown scorer. The passing game usage isn't there, and the massive workload isn't there. Again, he had, he got 14 touches in this game, and a game in which the Saints were competitive.
Yeah.
Like they weren't blown out of this game. Like they had a chance.
This is what the Saints do every week.
Yeah,
it feels like
they hang around.
That's what's more concerning about Kamara. You don't look at the Saints going, "Oh, they're out of the script again."
Yeah.
Kamara is now a 4 beer start. If you know, you know.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right, John Dangerly.
Good
I'd
Sunday
want 4
morning
beers.
reference. Yeah. I mean, Kamara's 30 years old right now with a significant workload. Like if he's starting to slow down, we shouldn't be like, "Oh my God!" It's like Todd Gurley at 25.
No, he's in the phase where you kind of expect him to be on the Ravens in a year. Right? That's the kind of successor.
It really seems like he doesn't want to go.
No, he doesn't. No, he'll be on the Saints because that's where he wants to.
Right.
And good for him if he wants to do that.
Pretty rare nowadays.
He's not going to be in contention.
He's a Southern kid. I believe he went to Tennessee.
Yes.
Right? And so he's been with the Saints his entire career.
Yeah.
If you're going to live in an NFL city, New Orleans is, a top 5.
Lovely city.
It's an amazing
We had a great
city.
time during the Super Bowl last year.
Yes, of course. Like, where's he going?
We had too much fun.
Oh, my God. We had a lot of fun. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I don't think Alvin Kamara is going anywhere.
No.
I think the big running back that'll be moved to the deadline is Breece Hall. And I've said that for the last 2 weeks. I almost expect that one to happen. We'll see.
Yeah.
If they get a reasonable pick, like a fourth, third round.
Or
All right.
quarterback.
Yeah, hey, sure, we'll take Brock Purdy for Breece Hall. He can play Mac Jones the rest of the year.
Honestly, you should take Matt Jones for Breece Hall.
I would. I'd say sure.
Yeah. Or you know what you should do? You say, tell you what, we will give you Breece Hall, but you have to take Justin Fields with you. Just eat his contract.
Yes. And then we'll drive both of them there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the deal?
Poor Justin Fields.
Okay. We'll pay the gas.
I mean, dude.
All right.
We'll get there.
Speaking of the Niners the big win over the Falcons, who it felt like the Falcons caught some lightning after beating the Bills, but it all kind of came crashing down in this game. Massive game for CMC, and I think it's no coincidence. Yes, he has a goose egg on the list, George Kittle, but man, was his impact felt in this game. But he did have an apology to fantasy managers and bettors after the game.
Okay.
Personally, I thought with the game plan based on the walkthrough yesterday, I thought I was going to have 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. So, sorry, fantasy coaches and anybody that bet on me. My bad. Blame Kyle Shanahan, not me. I think the Falcons just did a really good job. We called a bunch of the plays. We called the plays that we thought I was going to be open on, and next thing I know, there's 2 to 3 people standing in the window. And then Mac did a great job of not, forcing anything, and then just, hey, let's get it to a check down, let's get it to another guy that's open, and just keep the ball moving. Like I said, I would love to get the football. I love catching the ball, and I love hitting people, and I love running in the open space. But like I said, if other guys are taking advantage of the opportunity and they're winning their one-on-ones, I'll take it.
Guys, yay or nay on fantasy coaches? I think fantasy coaches is great.
Fantasy coaches it's better than fantasy owners.
Sir Alex Ferguson.
Fantasy coach.
I'm good with fantasy coaches.
George Kittle's the man.
Exactly. I'm good.
He is the man.
I'm good with anything George Kittle. Friend of the podcast, friend of the show, George Kittle. We love George Kittle here. Tough day. But by the way, the Falcons actually pretty good again. To his point, Falcons went into this game as being one of the best teams in the NFL against opposing tight ends. So no surprise they're able to shut it down. The Falcons have a good defense, but not good enough to stop Christian McCaffrey, who, looked pretty healthy to me yesterday.
Yeah, and I think. Look, McCaffrey was awesome. He showed a lot of burst. Kittle being back in the run game helped immensely.
That's the thing.
That helped. Also, the Falcons, their defense has been very good. It's been a very good pass defense. They're no good against the run. They have a lot of speed, not much heft. So it was a good matchup there. But still, even with that, given what McCaffrey came into this game averaging 3.1 yards per carry on a ton of volume. Yeah. And so I didn't think that he had this game in him, but he does. And that bodes very well for him, for his fantasy managers, and for the Niners going forward.
Yeah, I mean, they play at Houston next week, which is as good a run defense as there is in the NFL. So that'll be interesting to see how they do against them. But 5.4 yards per carry, to your point. Came in averaging 3. Kittle gets there. One of, if not the best blocking tight end in the sport.
Yes,
and
sport of football.
Yes, exactly. And, look, Chris McCaffrey, we said it at the preseason. We think we're in on him staying healthy this year. And so far through 7 weeks, he has been on a team where not anyone else has been healthy, but he's been the one guy.
With insane volume. That's what I'm personally shocked at, is that he's holding up while getting over 30 touches in this game.
Yeah. It'll be interesting once Pearsall comes back, once Purdy comes back. Jawan Jennings actually looked a little bit more. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't a huge statistic game or anything, but he was out there.
He had a 30% target share, basically. It was 4 for 31. Yeah. But they tried to get him the ball.
Brandon Ayuk is on this team.
Yeah,
in theory. The idea of Brandon Ayuk is on this team.
Also, George Kittle
concept.
Yes, I don't know if it's tangible.
And then they have so many people on this team, which is kind of because they don't have anyone on defense anymore. They're all gone. But on offense, the team is completely loaded when they're fully healthy. And so this could be the biggest gap between offense and defensive. I mean, the defense, though, was like good last night.
Credit to Robert Saleh. He got,
Yeah.
chicken salad out of chicken, you know what.
Yeah.
He really did.
Yeah.
He really did.
The one thing about the Niners defense, even though the talent level has just fallen off a cliff without Warner and Bosa, is like they execute this game and they tackle. They tackle. They were like Buffalo were just a complete mess trying to tackle Bijan Robinson. Bijan was not getting much against these guys just because they're disciplined and they hold their tackles.
Yeah, the disappointing game for the Falcons. Obviously, Bijan doing Bijan things. It was nice to see Kyle Pitts continue. But, Penix did not look good.
No, he's just been back, up and down all year.
And it's interesting. Darnell Mooney came back, and my best bet last night on Football Night in America was Drake London over on his receiving yards prop, and I felt really good about that. This is somebody who came in with a 33% target share. I'm like, even though Darnell Mooney's there, they'll take a couple shots to Mooney, but against this defense, they should target London early and often.
They did.
And I was right. He got 10 targets. But did he get to his 70 yards? He did not. No. He did not get to 72.5 yards. Did he even get to, because my parlay, my DraftKings 3 play last night, Squish McCaffrey anytime touchdown. Bijan Robinson over 40 receiving yards. Both those hit in the first half. And and Drake London has 3 targets. I'm like, I got 3 receptions. I'm like, I got this. All he need, because my third leg was 5 receptions. Literally just 5 receptions for a guy getting a 33% target share. And does he get it? He does not get it. He does not get it. He gets only 1 reception in the second half, 10 targets, and he can only come down with the ball 4 times.
Yelling.
How bad? I'm sorry. Listen, we love you, Detective Drake London. I don't blame you. I blame Michael Penix. I blame the offensive line of the Atlanta Falcons. Get the ball to Drake London.
Why is the offensive line?
He tried.
But he was bad at it.
They need another receiver. Darnell Mooney has been bad this year when he's on the field. Kyle Pitts is out there.
I'll tell you who else I blame. I blame Zach Robinson. I'll tell you what. Get this. Coming into this game, 53% of Drake London's targets were in the slot. Easy receptions. Let's get him in the slot. Let's get him moving. Let's create a mismatch because Drake London is a big dude. But in this game, of his 10 targets, only 2 came in the slot. That's bad coaching, Zach Robinson. And you went on national TV and you lost. And it serves you right. It serves you right when you have good players. You know what you do with good players? You get in the ball. You get in the ball, Connor Rogers. It's not tough. I'm no genius, but you know what? You know what I know? Hey, getting the ball to your best wide receiver.
That's a good idea.
It helps. It helps. You know what Kyle Shanahan, Coach of the Year, Kyle Shanahan did? Kyle Shanahan said, hey, Chris McCaffrey, you're our best player. Let's give you the ball.
31 times.
31 times.
Yeah.
See how easy it is? Yeah. Goes back again.
It's all
Remember when I was coaching girls basketball? I had a girl that was 6 feet, 6 inches taller than everyone else.
Off the
and they're like, hey, girls, get Josie the ball in the paint. We went undefeated. We won the championship because I followed the very easy coaching principle of get your good players the ball.
Off the stage, Benicio Del Berry. Let's go. It's all noted.
Oh, God, the comments. Here's the injuries we're tracking going into Week 7. Not a fun list. Jayden Daniels left with the hamstring. Bryce Young was seen in a walking boot after the game. Kendra Miller with the knee. Brian Thomas Jr. with a shoulder. Dontavian Wicks with a calf. Darren Waller left the game with a pectoral injury. And Cole Kmet with a back injury.
Yeah, might be the red rifle next week.
Wow.
For the 4-3 Panthers.
Mr. T is calling you the Preachler.
Fine.
Yes.
Yeah. Better the Preachler than the Excuseler.
Yeller.
Yeah.
All right. We're off the break. When we're back, Weekend Warriors, Sunday
Mr.
Scaries.
T knows the truth, though.
And an enraged Matthew Berry.
Just get the ball to your good guys. How tough is that?
Obviously, Davante's as good a receiver as been in this league for a long time, so really happy for his day. He did a nice job, obviously getting open, making some great plays in the red zone, putting the ball in the end zone for us. So we're lucky to have him, and just happy that we got it done.
He's a killer. That's what killers do. They go out and kill. So it's never easy when you're operating in elements like that, but we started off a little slow, he and I, and then but the rest of the offense was rolling, so we were able to kind of keep the ball moving and then found our opportunities in there and took advantage.
Weekend Warriors, Matthew Stafford and Davante Adams, who you just heard from, they definitely headline this list, guys. Obviously, Stafford with 5 passing touchdowns, and guess who caught 3 of them, Matthew?
Yeah, Davante Adams, who obviously made the love list. He was my number 3 wide receiver. The crazy thing is that, so I'm at wide receiver 3 without Puka, and given the matchup, as we head into Monday Night Football, he's wide receiver 6. Like, he scored 3 touchdowns, and yet he's still wide receiver 6, which is kind of the crazy day.
Yeah.
Just 5 for 35 here. It was a very efficient day for Matthew Stafford, the 5 passing touchdowns, as you mentioned, but only on 182 passing yards. The Jaguars couldn't get a lot going on offense, with the exception of Travis Hunter, which we'll talk about in a second. But Stafford, by the way, since week 4 is the 5th best quarterback in fantasy. You need to throw touchdowns at a high rate because you don't run if you're a pocket passer to be good in fantasy. But last 4 games, 12 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 25 or more fantasy points in 3 of the past 4 games. He's unfortunately on a bye next week, but hopefully Puka is back when they get out of the bye to face the Saints at home.
Well, Jay, I'll tell you who does both. Drake Maye throws touchdowns and gets it done on the ground. 8 carries for 62 yards after a near-perfect passing day.
Yeah, incredibly efficient, 21 for 23. This is what he does in terms of EPA per play. The only quarterback materially ahead of Drake Maye this year is, ironically, Sam Darnold, of all people. But Maye has been playing like MVP ballot level. He's running as well, which makes you a little bit nervous. He had to leave the game for Josh Dobbs for a play because he did get his bell rung, so to speak. And so he goes 8 for 62 on the ground. And the Patriots have a very favorable schedule rest of the way.
Yes, they do. Welcome back, Rashee Rice, Matthew. You knew they were going to look for a touchdown for him, 2 of them in this game on 10 targets. No easing him in at all.
No, he looked like the guy we remember from last year, 29% target share. That was a team high. He was targeted on 52% of his routes. And by the way, Patrick Mahomes didn't play in the fourth quarter. Like, if there's no bigger insult than saying, Gardner Minshew, get on in there. And so that's what the Chiefs did. So he did this all in 3 quarters. 7 for 42, the 2 reception touchdowns, only a 48% route participation. But again, the starters only played for 3 quarters. So Rashee Rice back to being wide receiver 1 for what is one of, if not the best offense in football right now.
Travis Hunter, Jay, the game we've all been waiting for, but maybe not with the results Jacksonville hoped for, but he gets over 100 yards in a throw-heavy Jaguars script.
Looks like a guy that you take 2nd overall, right?
Play on offense.
I think the key was 14 targets, and that was off of 7 targets last week. It's trending in that direction. He looked very much the part. He's making highlight Travis Hunter. This guy won the Heisman for a reason. To your point, Connie, would have been the number 1 player, a wide receiver drafted if he was only on that side of the ball. And so I think there's a good chance that he is the guy in Jacksonville going forward. Also, BTJ banged up, Damie Brown banged up. We'll see how they pull up, but I expect Travis Hunter, I think he's going to be a high-end, it's so much variance with Travis Hunter, right? He could easily be a high-end wide receiver 2 the rest of the way. He could be back to being a low-end flex. We just don't know, but I'd be betting on the upside.
I would agree. They have a bye next week, but 30% target share, 89% route participation in this league. And what's most important, that's why he made the love list on Thursday. We talked about him. Liam Cohen came out and said, we are designing more plays where he is the first read, where, we're putting that in. So, he made good on his promises. So, Duval. There you go. All right.
Yeah, our last one, Matthew, Trey McBride, who has a nice rapport with Jacoby Brissett.
3 touchdowns in 2 games with Jacoby Brissett. Meanwhile, 3 touchdowns in his last 21 games with Kyler Murray. 38% target share for Trey McBride. He's now had back-to-back games, 21 more fantasy points. If you have Trey McBride, you're hoping Jacoby stays the quarterback for a little while longer.
Sunday Scaries, headlined by Ashton Jeanty. This was a tough one here, Matthew. 6 carries for 21 yards in a game where the Raiders were flat out embarrassed.
I mean, they just got their ass kicked. Thank God for the Raiders. Otherwise, my Redskins would be my Commanders. Old habits die hard. My Commanders would have been the worst team in the NFL this year. He had 7 total touches in this game. They just got blown out. They're on a bye this upcoming week. Things will get better for Ashton Jeanty, but honestly, I think he's like more of a high-end flex, low-end RB2.
Because of the scripts.
Because of the scripts. Like this is, we talked about it last week. Remember I said sell high? On this show last week after the big game, we're like, this might be his best game of the season. We talked about that. Anyway, this is a tough one. I do have to apologize, though, for all my backpatting and saying you should have sold high on Ashton Jeanty last week. I also had Breece Hall on the love list this week. And, yeah, that was bad. That was wrong. He was not good, Connor. Back-to-back games now with under 8 fantasy points.
Yeah, I think what hurt in this one, too, is that he got hurt. He left with looked like an ankle injury. He came back in the game. They asked him after, you came back in the game where you feel. He didn't look right, and he said, if I'm in the game, I'm in the game.
Playing.
But that injury completely derailed his day. But it has been a bad year for Breece Hall in terms of usage.
Yeah, good news, guys. I benched Travis Etienne. I benched DeVonta Smith for Travis Etienne in a league where that cost me. Travis Etienne, it's tailed off. He was hugely dependent on big plays earlier in the year. He's not getting receiving work, and this offense is largely fallen off a cliff.
Yeah, he's on a bye next week. Jets, by the way, play Cincinnati next week. If Hall were to miss time, Isaiah Davis time. Might be pretty interesting.
Isaiah Davis. They really don't have anyone else. T-Mac ran into Sauce Gardner Island in this one. Matthew only catches 3 for 33.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. They play Buffalo next week. They're going to have to throw quite a bit. T-Mac is fine. Jalen Waddle, again, the Dolphins' offense is just such a disaster. Very, very windy game. Questions about this offense, questions about Tua. Hopefully better days ahead for Jalen Waddle, but maybe not because they're at Atlanta next week, and that is a very good secondary. Probably more of a wide receiver 2 than the wide receiver 1 he's been since Tyreek Hill went down with an injury.
We're taking one more break. When we're back, it's last call. We got our Monday Night Football preview right after this. DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL. New customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the app and use promo code FFHH when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook.
The card is yours.
Is that? I didn't know. Oh,
it can be yours.
Can it be mine?
Yes. Unfortunately, because of the Falcons' offense, it wasn't last night. But you have a shot of redemption right here, Matthew, because we got 2 great games for Monday Night Football as we show the most bet player props. Jay, you usually go off the board.
Yeah, I go a little funky. Baker Mayfield taking his longest completion over 36.5 yards. He's throwing deep a ton. Detroit have no players in their secondary. They're missing their starting corners and their starting safeties. He has been, if we look at it, recent games for Baker Mayfield, he's had 45, 57, and 77-yard completions in his past 3.
By the way, I'm going to tag off that because I totally agree. No one in the secondary of the Lions. They give up a bunch of deep plays. So give me Mike Evans over 22.5 yards for his longest reception. They've given up 13 completions of 23 yards or more. They've given up at least one 23-yard completion in every game this season. And, of course, last year, Evans had 11 different catches of 23 yards or more. So give me Mike Evans over 22.5 longest reception.
You guys are making fun plays for the high-scoring thriller. That'll be Bucs-Lions. I'll go with the real rock fight. That'll be Seahawks. Texans under 41.5. The Texans' run defense should hold up against Seattle. Seattle's defense will be flying around. I know Sam Darnold's been great, but I don't know. It just feels like both sides will struggle to get over this mark in this one. I could see a slow-paced run the football kind of game.
Feels like 17-14.
Right. Yeah. A lot of field goals. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and Houston off the bye, they've had 2 weeks to prepare.
They had, and it's only a 3-point line, despite Seattle playing as well as they have.
You see all the obvious ranks, tons of fantasy superstars in this game. If you want something to root for, Lawrence Jackson is up 11.5 points on me and has Jahmyr Gibbs. I have Mike Evans and Sam Laporta. So I need Evans and Laporta to score 11.5 more points.
Let's go, Gibbsy.
Than Jahmyr Gibbs.
Show us something, Jahmyr Gibbs.
Here are the Texans, and lesser here, right? But so you don't really like any of the quarterbacks here or the running backs, but you're starting Nico and JSN, 2 of the best wide receivers. I'm curious to see if AJ Barner continues kind of the recent trend of usage here for Seattle, as long as we're talking kind of obscure tight ends, along with a Rondé Gadsden as well. AJ Barner's my other obscure one. All right, it's closing time. Means you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. For Jay and Connor, I'm Matthew. We'll see you tomorrow. Good luck with your Monday Night Miracle. Peace out.